Okay, Lonnie, I think they're here. I am so proud of you. This is a premiere. It is sold out. This is called Pursuit of Freedom.
Yeah.
Tell me this, where did you come up with this idea for this?
Oh man, it was on the mission field years ago.
I'm telling you why I'm so pissed. The girls are here.
All right, hey
this
girls.
is going to be an unbelievable premiere.
Yeah.
Why don't you take them on in?
All right,
I will get
girls.
Kayla, you and I.
Yeah.
This is amazing, guys. This is going to be an unbelievable premiere. Best
All right,
seats in
girls.
the house for all of us.
Let's go find seats, man. Let's go find seats.
Kayla,
excited.
I am amazed. Oh yeah, are you excited about this show?
This is so awesome.
I just hear something.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Great Dizzy Rodriguez.
Guys, no. This is not your premiere. You only sold 2 tickets. Nobody wants to see you.
That's my man.
No, come on. Premiere. Wait.
We got everything.
I found out there's one thing you can do.
Yeah.
You guys can go ahead and practice if you want. After all the seats are done, after the janitor's cleaned up, they'll let you use the stage for about 30 minutes. But gotta warn you, there's an embassy ghost. You guys are worried about it?
I'm not worried about it.
Okay,
Come on, let's go.
We're tough. Go ahead and go.
right.
Thank you. Thank you.
A
A little more practicing before we get up there.
A little bit. I feel like we're in the entourage thing.
Welcome to Between the Studs. We are Granite Ridge Builders, custom builders serving northern Indiana, northwest Ohio, and also parts of southern Michigan. We have been building custom homes for almost 2 decades, and we're really passionate about what we do. So join us today as we explore the processes, the trends, and also tips that characterize today's new home. Thanks for watching.
All right, Mike, this is your big chance from the Hayloft in Antwerp to the bright lights and the big stage here in the Embassy Theater in Fort Wayne. Now, you're going to be doing some juggling. I got to be honest, I don't think just juggling 3 is going to cut it. I think you need to build it up to a few more items. But before that, hey, good luck. Bad luck. Bad luck? Good luck? Oh, I don't get it. Well,
Not good luck.
break a leg.
There we go.
Break a leg.
There we go.
Yeah.
We can do
Or
that
in your
one.
case, maybe break an arm.
There we go.
So let's practice.
Yeah, we put this act together. I think this is going to
There
take
we
us
go.
big time.
That was
There we
my fault. That was bad throw.
Keep them going.
Yeah.
Keep them going.
Here's the Yep.
This is what you're bringing? Come on,
practice
guys.
a little bit.
That
The
is
lights,
not
you
going
know,
to cut it here.
Izzy, before you do that, we got to get the tie straight. Here you go.
Tony, that's bad luck. What are you bringing a mirror on stage for?
Bad luck was good luck.
No. That's bad luck. Totally
I
bad.
did read that this was going to be good.
Oh my gosh, that's a peacock feather. That's
be on
bad luck.
stage,
It's the
guys.
eye of evil. What are you thinking, Tony?
Good luck.
No.
I'm confused.
I can't work with this. What is going on? Okay, now look, we got to start practicing here. I got this new card trick, okay? I think it's going to be really good.
Okay.
How we're going to do it is this way, okay? We're going to do...
Oh.
That's
See,
better than
you see the bad luck that you brought
52
here?
card pickup, Izzy. I like that game.
was good.
Okay, maybe that's not ready yet. But hold on.
not
Hey,
gonna be happy.
here's a better one, okay?
Okay.
I brought my saw.
He doesn't know how to use it.
I'm going to have you saw me in half.
okay.
Now be careful. It's very sharp.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here. You need to go around back here.
Okay.
Hey, did you see that chair?
Oh my gosh.
Hey.
The chair just sat down on its own.
Who's playing the orchestra?
I tell you what, the embassy ghost is probably not happy that some fools like us are on stage.
Okay, so you're going to saw me in half, okay?
Okay,
So this
ready.
is how it's going to work.
Like a box or something?
This seems like a bad idea.
Just be careful. First time's a charm.
You paid your insurance, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Are you ready?
Okay, watch out. Okay.
That's
Hey,
lights
who
going.
turned off the lights?
Guys, it's getting oddly cold in
Hey,
here.
get off my foot.
Tony, hold my
That's
hand.
not me. Hey, who took my saw?
Hey, thanks for holding my hand, Tony.
I'm not holding your hand.
You hear those
What's
footsteps,
going
guys?
on? Ah! What happened?
I was turning the lights on and off. They thought it was a ghost.
Is there a We've been here the whole time watching you in the dark.
Good thing we handled that like men. Yeah.
Okay, well, after that, welcome back. We're here at this iconic, unbelievable gem in Fort Wayne, Indiana called the Embassy Theater. And it is the most architectural, drop-dead gorgeous place. We're going to try to define that today. So Between the Studs, we have been taking a lot of different architectural styles, different buildings, right across the street here, the Immaculate Conception, and we're going to try to give you a really backstage look at what this embassy has to offer.
Nice pun.
Now, I thought that was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Before we do that, though, Izzy, I think we got to explain, is there really a ghost and is there not?
Well, there really is a ghost of the embassy, and it's the spirit of a man named Bud Berger. And he worked here and lived here from 1936 till his death in 1965. And he was the stage manager here, and so he loved his job and he loved this building and he took care of it impeccably.
Yeah, and over the past 50 years, there's been numerous claims of water leaks or damage before they've even happened.
Wow. Did you know organists have noticed empty seats have been descending
Ooh.
Can you imagine?
I heard during their rehearsals and nobody's around. Is that
Right.
true? That's kind of interesting.
You know, a lot of theaters have ghosts. And a lot of times they do very good things to maintain the theater and keep things going. Maybe it could be a ghost like Casper's, nice and fluffy.
That's what the embassy got.
Real soft, you know?
Yep.
As long as it's not Slimer, we're okay.
Yeah, good point.
And we're going to see that there are a ton of superstitions in the theater world. You're going to see, like, saying break a leg to somebody. That sounds like a bad thing, but that's actually good luck in the theater world.
Wait, that's bad luck.
Saying good luck is bad luck,
don't say
but
that.
saying break a leg is good luck. It's very
I am
confusing.
so confused.
You're not allowed to have a mirror on stage. It's supposed to mess with the lights and be bad for the performance. Peacock feathers. You are not allowed to have a peacock feather around a stage.
Why?
The eye of evil, I don't know, crazy people back in the day. You're not allowed to have jewelry. They say it leads to theft, all sorts of crazy stuff. You're not allowed to whistle in a theater. So Lonnie, that would be bad for you because you whistle all day long. So luckily that doesn't translate to the construction business.
Well, you know
as
why they said that? Because back then they used to hire sailors to operate everything backstage. Well, if they were whistling like they did on the boats, all of a sudden you'd have a screen come down on somebody or the lights would come down. So that was bad luck. That's really bad luck.
It's crazy how many superstitions there are out there in the theater world.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the theater, and then there's the theater.
Two different.
Two different things, two different spellings, said the same way, but it can get confusing.
The first theater involves a live performance, kind of probably the theater that most of us think about. So live performers, actors, actresses, they perform on a stage. It could be song, it could be dance, it could be spoken word. It comes from an ancient Greek word that means to watch and observe.
I know in Lonnie and I's 50-year here, I think we've been to at least 100 to 200 different kinds of concerts, plays, I mean everything. And we've been able to watch that theater performance.
Now, the second meaning of the word is the structure or the building, and you can find that as a open-air amphitheater. It could be a cathedral-like structure, or it could even be a beautiful ornate building just like the embassy here. What have you guys found are some elements of the theater?
Well, you have to start, of course, at the very front with a ticket booth. So you walk in, you get to experience the ticket booth, you get your ticket, and you walk into the foyer, or the foyer if you're fancy. So you walk into the foyer, and that's where everyone kind of assembles and gets ready to make their way to their seats.
And then, of course, the stage. The whole reason you're here is to look at the stage. So there's a few terms. We've got upstage, downstage, midstage. Now, when you're out in the audience and you look up at the stage, upstage is actually way in the back, midstage, and then downstage is right up here in the front. And then it separates the stage from the audience with a thrust or an arch.
And right in front of the stage is this arena or pit, or they might call it a stall, and it's where the orchestra would sit. I never had a chance to sit in there.
You weren't that good.
No.
Then, of course, you need the auditorium, or a place for all of us to sit and watch the performance.
And then we have balconies. Sometimes there's private viewing boxes as well, that upper deck seating.
And then you've got a lot of wardrobe changes, so you need your dressing room, and then it takes a lot of things, props, if you will, in order to make a play work. So we've got the prop room.
So have you worked on our dressing rooms yet, Tony?
Yep, it's called none.
Oh, yeah. Okay, just making
Men's
sure.
bathroom.
Arguably, the founder of the modern theater is William Shakespeare. And one of his most famous quotes is, "All the world is the stage, and all the men and women merely the players." Wow. Meaning, get out there and enjoy life. Don't wait on that cue. Get out there and experience something new and experience this crazy thing called life or theater.
I like that.
And we can start with some other terms that are famous to the theater as well, such as break a leg. And this actually started in ancient Greece with their theater. Instead of clapping, they would stomp. And so the more they would stomp, the more chance that someone might break a leg. Then you would go to Elizabethan theater, easy for you to say. And with that, you would have chairs that they would go doom, 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 doom. Again, the more they would cheer, the more chance that they could break a leg. And of course, the next stage would be going to a Queen concert where it would go and then you might break a leg as well.
So the next term that we'll go to is bringing down the house. Now this comes from a phrase meaning to get thunderous, positive applause, so much so that it could physically collapse a house, bring the house down.
Now that's a really good act.
Yeah.
Izzy, that's not yours.
That's right.
And then there's the curtain call. After the performance is over, the curtains are closed and out come the performers. Usually they start with the ones that had the lesser roles to the ones who are the real stars of the show, and they're recognized.
Well, Elizabeth said something about upstage. I thought I'd clarify that. You've heard of the word upstage, right? In other words, somebody would upstage somebody. Well, first of all, let's go back to what she said. Right by the audience, that is called downstage. Then you've got upstage. The reason they did, most theaters, when they first started, were angled. They were angled down so that way you could see better and acoustics were better. So they called that downstage, going up to upstage. And the reason then upstage started, so if the actors were all in the front, somebody realized if you went to the back and started talking, all of the actors would have to turn towards you with their backs to the audience, and that would be upstaging somebody. In other words, diverting attention to themselves. I'm going to start trying that.
Now let's talk a little bit about lighting. So we've heard the term spotlight, and that's just a high beam light focused on one person or one element that you really want to draw the audience attention to. Another term is limelight, and again, that means to focus on somebody or be in the focus. And where that term came from was back in the 1800s, early 1800s, passing by ships would use a light and they would put a lime cylinder over it, which would then increase the light and make it easier for them to see. And the theater picked up on that around the 1830s, and they started using it for the theater. Now, a third one, which I find the most interesting, is a ghost light. Now, the ghost light is actually, when we walked into the theater here, it was all dark except for the one light on stage, and that was a light that burns all the time. And what it's for is it's for two things. One, it could be to ward off ghosts, or two, to then appease or comfort the ghosts that are in here. Now, with that being said, I think ghosts would probably like to stay at a Motel 6, right?
Okay, that was a bad joke. That was not good.
You've heard the term waiting in the wings. Well, it's waiting on the side of backstage, because that's what those are called, the wings. So that's where performers who are waiting to come out on stage, where they hang out. You've also heard winging it.
That's what we do.
That's exactly right. That
We
maybe,
understand.
or if you've ever been at an event that I've emceed, you have seen that firsthand, because that's kind of how I like to. That's how I like to do things. So it means that you don't have things memorized. You're not using perhaps a teleprompter, but you like to just go with the flow. Or maybe in the theater world, they sometimes have things taped in front of them in the wings so that they can see what is coming up next.
Now, I never knew that when we go to the movie world, there's the silver screen. Now, silver screen is a specific type of screen made from sheets that they would cover in silver dust with the older projectors. So that's how we got silver screen. And then there's also the understudy. So an understudy is somebody who knows more than one main role. That way, in case a lead actor is not able to perform, they can step in their place.
Now, every performer dreams of having their name in lights. So you know you've become accomplished when your name is in lights. And then, of course, there's your marquee sign. And the Embassy has a great example outside of a beautiful marquee sign.
Unfortunately, Between the Studs has never gotten our name in lights. I don't know what's happened.
I don't think we ever will.
No, I don't either. I'll tell you what, let's do next. Let's talk a little bit about this iconic theater, the parts and pieces, all the other things. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this next section.
Mike, so we get to break down the 94-year history that this building has seen, and it all started back in 1926. That's when construction started on what was known as the Emboyd Theater at the time, and then a 7-story, 250-room hotel that flanked it on the north and east side. And it was designed by A.M. Strauss. He was a local architect, and it was designed for vaudeville acts, comedy acts, as well as acrobats, musicians, magicians, and then it was also known as a movie palace.
Yeah, and A.M. Strauss, or Alvin M. Strauss, is a little bit of a local legend here. He was born in Kendallville, Indiana in 1895, and he has designed some of the most popular works around the area. He designed the War Memorial Coliseum, the Lincoln Bank Tower, the Auburn Corduzenberg showroom, the Brokaw Theater in Angola.
He had his fingerprints everywhere.
The Clyde Theater as well.
Yeah, so it was May 14th, 1928. That was the date that the Emboyd finally opened. There was some things that were kind of revolutionary at the time. If you ever walked into the Performance Center, overhead you'll see the balcony. What most people probably don't notice is it is completely free-spanning. There are no columns or posts to block anybody's view. It was a 200-ton girder system, steel girder system, and it was revolutionary at the time. The other thing is, this building was one of the first buildings to have air conditioning in Fort Wayne. And then flanking the stage, there was a 1,150 pipe organ to just obviously just have fantastic sound.
Yeah. And when Alvin Strauss and Clyde Quimby came together to design this place, they had luxury and high class in mind. When you walk in the outer lobby, you're going to see that French marble. You walk into the inner lobby, you're seeing that black and white Italian marble. You see the grand marble staircase, and it's just beautiful in here.
Right, and it was up until 1952 that this was known as the Emboid, as you mentioned, and that's when it got bought by Alliance Chain. They're the ones who renamed it to the Embassy. Now, fast forwarding about 19 years later, kind of came on some tough times. So 1971, the hotel was forced to close. It was a year later, 1972, the Wrecking Ball was scheduled to come here and take the building down. And it was Robert Goldstein, and you actually see his name as you walk into this space overhead. He and some other local leaders and volunteers raised $250,000 in about 2-day span to save this building. And Bob Hope even got involved with writing some letters to basically say how influential this place was to his career. So thank goodness they saved it, because obviously it is a gem we have here in Fort Wayne.
In 1975, the embassy was actually named to the National Register for Historic Places, which really provides some security knowing that this place is going to be around for some while. And in 1985, the first Festival of Trees actually happened here at the embassy. Now, they raised $46,000, and they used that money to renovate and uplift the front entry here. And we're going on our 33rd year here this year, and we expect over 20,000 visitors to come in and see these trees in this beautiful place.
All right, Mike, so that brings us up to present day. And really, as you can see, it took a lot of pivotal people, as well as a lot of people in our community, to basically have this building survive to what it is today, and thank goodness they did. I mean, you just, every time you walk in here, your breath's taken away.
The community really came together and saved the history of this building.
Hey, Tony, don't play the organ.
I didn't play the organ. It was probably just Bud. Hey, no whistling. No whistling.
I'm sorry.
You know, in this beautiful, iconic theater, they have been having thousands of performances that go back in the 94-year history of this place. Wow, yeah. And there have been so many just amazing people who have come here at their height, but also started here. Right. And if we go back into 1929, Bob Hope was the master of ceremonies here for 2 months in the very start of his career. And he was an integral part of getting the Embassy Theater saved back in 1974. He wrote a letter, and they were using that letter to kind of spitball everything and going forward with the saving of this theater.
Yes, and they have the letter, and here's what the letter said. It saddens me to learn that the Emboid Theater, known as the Emboid Theater, may hit the skids. It played a big part in my earlier days when I needed food. It's a beautiful place, and I hope and pray that the Embassy can be saved. Then he came back in 1978 for a performance. It was actually a benefit performance in an effort to raise support for its restoration.
Why don't we go through some of the other acts that have been here?
Let's do it. There was people like Perry Como, Lawrence Welk, Louis Armstrong, Tony Bennett, Chico Marx, Doris Day, Duke Ellington, Red Skeleton, Fats Domino, Victor Borge, and also Santa Claus.
Hey, but you're missing some of the other ones. Did you say Santa?
Yes, the real Santa Claus.
Oh.
Yeah.
We also had Jerry Seinfeld, B.B. King, Ray Romano, David Copperfield was here, and I'm glad he didn't make the whole place disappear. We also had Burt Bacharach, the Fort Wayne Philharmonic plays here all the time. Plus, that doesn't even go into any of the different theater presentations that happened here, and your world premiere of your movie.
Yes, and you were on this stage too, weren't you?
It was years ago, but I got booed off. I was on for like 30 seconds.
Well, so did I.
This theater is magnificent, and it's been described as a phantasmagoric environment with its beautiful French marble. It also has Italian black and white marble, and then of course this marble staircase. It's truly opulent. So let's go into detail about the architecture.
Now, the Embassy is described as a Spanish eclectic style with a Moorish interior and a Rococo flair. Now, that's a lot of words to say, so let's describe what some of those styles really mean. When we describe a Spanish style, some of the elements you might see are going to be round, arched openings, carved wood doors, or you'll see porch arcade with columns.
This became popular in the early 20th century after Panama, California Exposition was held in 1915 out in San Diego.
And we talk about the embassy having a Moorish interior. There's going to be a lot of decorative curves. You're going to have very ornate designs. You'll see light pastel colors like pink, yellows, and blues, crystal chandeliers, gilded wall sconces, and stucco ornaments.
Some key interior features at the embassy are neo-Mid-Eastern arches, Romanesque barrel vaults with wedgwood icing, the staircase, columns, and floor, all of Italian marble and French marble.
Of course, as a designer, I love to be able to see historic architecture right in our hometown. So come to the embassy because it's absolutely beautiful to take a look at.
For the love of Miss Page. Since 1928, the embassy has hosted many events, but all of them have been embodied through the Grand Page. We've had people here like Bob Hope, Red Skelton, Tony Bennett, but all of them fall to the grandeur of the Grand Page.
Hey, I think that was one of your best tricks, Izzy.
Oh, thank you.
Volunteers have maintained this organ, and in 1963, Buddy played from midnight to 2:30, and that started the Organ at Midnight concerts. That has become a tradition for organists all over the country.
This Grander Page organ is ornate with pearl white and gold colors. It was installed by Page Pipe Organ Company of Lima, Ohio, and there are only 4 organs this size that were ever produced. The fully illuminated keyboard rises from below the stage, and the Grand Page has 1,150 pipes ranging from 16 feet to 7 inches tall.
The instruments in her repertoire include xylophones, Chinese gong, harp, piano, castanets, tambourines, and wood blocks, as well as sound effects like boats and trains, whistles, sirens, sleigh bells, and chirping birds. In fact, she can even make weird sounds like magicians play, like Izzy.
Oh, come on now. You know, I do get requested for birthday parties every once in a while.
Well, if you have never been to the Embassy Theater when the organ has been playing, it's really something you've got to check out. I cannot believe they let me set up here. This is one of the coolest things I've ever done. You think they'll let me play it too?
Well, you better take your shoes off.
Oh, good idea.
Now, we're here at the Embassy Theater talking all about theaters, but when we build homes, we have a lot of discussions when it comes to theater because media rooms and theater rooms are a very popular topic.
Right. Some of the things that are important to the theater are also important for people at home in their theater or in their specialty room. Things like sound. Mm-hmm. They'll bring sometimes a third party in to look at the room and confirm what they need to do in their relating to sound. And then there's also lighting. Mm-hmm. Lighting experts are going to come in there, and what are you going to do in that room? Are you developing pictures? Mm-hmm. Are you watching movies? What are you doing? So lighting and sound are very important.
Now let's talk about the type of room, because a lot of times you've seen theater rooms maybe in the basement, but they don't have to be. It could be a Texas basement like we've built, which is on an upper story. It can just be a large room. It doesn't even need to be a separate one. So there's a lot of different ways we can do theater rooms. You can have barn doors to them. You can have it more open. And again, the seating, very, very important. We used to have more theater-like seats or really big lounge chairs. Now we're doing more multi-purpose rooms and multi-purpose seating where it might just be a big sectional, different sections you can move around. So a lot of people would like the flexibility of these spaces to still have media, but other uses as well.
And the other thing you can do is, as you're planning ahead, is you can do things that are, I would call them user-friendly technology. 1 button, 2 buttons, it does everything. That's what I need.
For sure. Well, now, Lonnie, what about the screens? I've seen as many as 7 screens in one room. I mean, you have 1 large one, maybe 6 small ones on the sides. I mean, I don't know how I can focus on that many, but a lot of people seem to like it.
If you're following 6 football teams, you need at least 6 screens.
Okay, well, as you can see, Granite Ridge are the experts when it comes to theater rooms and media rooms, so please contact us. We'd love to talk to you about them in your new build.
Well, if you want to talk about some of the most spectacular theaters in the world, I would say the Embassy ranks right up there with all of them. But there are some other ones that we should mention.
One of the most iconic and one of the ones most photographed would have to be the Sydney Opera House in Australia.
Victoria Theatre in Singapore.
Theatrical in Buenos Aires.
Shakespeare Globe in London.
Radio City Music Hall in New York.
I always wanted to be a rockette. The Paramount Theatre in Oakland, California.
The Fox Theater, Detroit, Michigan.
Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles.
Schermerhorn Symphony Hall in Nashville, Tennessee.
The theater at Ace in Los Angeles.
And the Kalita Humphrey Theater, Dallas, Texas. And this was one of Frank Lloyd Wright's last buildings. This was just a list of a few. There are literally thousands of beautiful theaters all over the world. But for us, it all starts right here with the Embassy Theater.
All right, as usual, we could probably spend all day here. There's just so much to see and so much to talk about this beautiful building and the history that it has. But of course, we've got to close. So let's talk about a few things that we enjoyed about the show or about the building. You know, I love just hearing about all the history and learning everything there was from the moment this started in 1928 to today's date.
Yeah. I love all the detail and the color in this building. I also like the padded seats.
Well, I first want to say thank you to the people that helped pull this off. Carly was great at the embassy and helped make all of this happen. And I love the Festival of Trees, and that's a great way to support the embassy. Yeah. So before we know, get your tickets for this year's Festival of Trees.
This whole day has just been a walk down memory lane for me. From Northeast Indiana, born and raised around here, I've seen literally hundreds of different performances here, and I was able to relive a lot of that today, which was fun.
Of course, being in the design world, I love the Rococo and Moorish sort of architecture and style. I just love being able to see all of that here in Fort Wayne.
And just the overall sense of community in Fort Wayne, if it wasn't for volunteers and people who care about this place would be in ruins right now. It took several volunteers, money out of their own pocket to turn this into what it is today.
Well, I love the ghost, everything that's happened around here, and he's friendly.
Yeah. The grand page. I love music, and organ is second to none. It's a beautiful thing, beautiful instrument, and we're thankful that we've got something so beautiful here in Fort Wayne.
It was so great they let me play it.
Now, hey, before we close, we do have to talk about one thing. So a few months ago, it was actually the last time I was here, and we are so proud to talk about this because our own Lonnie Norris was executive producer and writer for a movie that premiered here, and it was based off of a true story that you experienced or heard about with your time in Russia as a missionary.
I was blessed to come across a story that I just couldn't get away from. I said, this needs to be shared, and so it became a movie. It was originally pulled from darkness, then the film was sold to Vision Films, and now it is Pursuit of Freedom. And we actually made some very important parts of the film right here in the embassy in the basement, with or without a ghost, I can't remember. Anyway, it's now streaming on some of the video demand sites and also on iTunes and on Amazon.Prime, et cetera, et cetera. Go see Pursuit of Freedom. And thanks, Granite Ridge Builders, for your support. I really mean that.
And again, we couldn't be more proud of you, Lonnie. I've seen the movie. It is a fantastic movie, definitely a tearjerker, but we've got to close the show. Kayla, will you close it for us?
Thank you all so much for joining us today. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and why we do what we do so well, please pick up the phone and give us a call. Visit our website, or even better yet, come in our front doors. We would love to meet you and talk about building your new home.
Did you guys just see that curtain over there?
The curtain's moving. I saw it too.
The seat just moved over here. Whoa.
Hey, who turned off the lights? Tony, hold my hand. I'm scared.
Is it getting cold in here, guys?
It's super cold.
Hey, thanks for holding my hand.
Weird.
Tony.
I'm not holding your hand.
Oh! Then who's holding?
We built houses.
And it's one of those, most amazing, astounding things you can see here. And I've lost my train of thought, and I'm stretching, and I can't get to it yet.
You want me to tell you? You think they'll let me play it too?
Well, you better take your shoes off.
Oh, good idea. That wasn't very smooth.
We'll cut out. 3, 2.
And we didn't say he was going to start, did we?
I know it.
I can start.
Okay.
I can start.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry.